You are looking at a 1963 Chevy C10. It has a 12-valve Cummins conversion done to it. This C10 has the 5.9 12-valve Cummins, which can also be known as the 6BT because it has 6 inline cylinders. It is a very durable engine that is commonly referred to as the million-mile motor. The 12-valve Cummins was originally designed for the Case Tractor Company before being picked up by Dodge for their full-size pickup truck line. So what you're going to see here in a second is me talking in front of this truck, and the audio is not going to sync. And that's because I filmed this some other time way in the past, but I wanted you guys to see the truck. So yeah, it's going to be kind of a fun thing. So the motor on this truck actually came out of an orange grove that had a generator, and it had about 100 hours on it. So that was pulled out, and it was combined with an Allison AT542 that came out of an ice cream truck. And last but not least, it has marine grade vinyl interior. These are all new things that I just learned last week when the original owner contacted me, actually interested in buying his car back. Don't look at my lips. They're not syncing. What'd I say? Don't look at them. But yeah, so that's a little backstory on this motor. Oh, engine. That's a little backstory on this engine. And I guess I'm walking away now, so I have to do something else with my voice. Alright, so this is the stack that I have on here that I'm not super thrilled about. However, it does keep the exhaust out of my face, out of my lungs. It's my best preventative against cancer that I can think of. Now, it sends it over the cab. I smell zero exhaust in the inside of the cab. When I have the little flapper on, yeah, I definitely smell it. So, until I get an exhaust going out the back, this is kind of my temporary solution. And it was only $7. And the best thing is it's really on here hard. I just drove this thing all the way home. It's hot. And I just wiggle it on, and that is all it is a piece of exhaust from a water heater that I painted black. It's kind of got a 2-section thing on it. I've been driving with it forever, and it literally just fits on there absolutely just bing. It's some Ninja Turtles looking stuff, right? It's pretty sweet. It is what it is, and I don't care if I look stupid or not because I'm awesome regardless. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Here you are in the belly of the beast, and you can see this 12-valve Cummins is coated top to bottom in international red, which is something that Cummins would put into their industrial applications. The turbo is mounted up top, so if you have a Dodge Ram, you're going to see the turbo is mounted down lower on the side to fit in the hood. Being that this came off of a generator, it doesn't really matter. It's sitting up on top the same way it would on a bus. Same way that it would on a heavy-duty truck. I put a bigger electric fan on just because I was worried about it overheating. However, diesels run cool. It doesn't really go above 190 on this thing. I'll sit in traffic and it'll go up a little bit. But really, diesels, when you put a load on them, is when you're going to see them getting hot. So we really don't have any issues with that. Diesel-equipped vehicles have lots of advantages over the internal combustion engine. One of them being that diesel engines output less carbon monoxide, so you don't have to worry about clearing out of your garage before you choke to death. Diesel engines also operate at a much cooler temperature, which makes them far more efficient, so they last lots longer. One thing you need to consider when owning a diesel is the potential for a runaway diesel. In this situation, the diesel may even consume its own internal oil and run at full RPMs. You cannot shut the key off to stop it. You can't pull the battery cables off to stop it. You have to be a man and you have to pull that air cleaner off and stop airflow. That's the only way to keep the motor from self-destructing. So my buddy said, hey, your bumper's upside down. I'm like, no, I tried putting it on upside down and it would not let me. This is the only way that it would go on and it fits perfect. And I went inside and I researched it and they all look like this. So I think there's different models where the bumper is flip-flopped on them. You can see my nice greasy paw prints from working on it. The license plate would go here. Okay, so these motors, if you're a fan of diesels, have one Achilles heel, and that is the killer dowel pin. So what it is right about here, there's a little metal dowel that after a while vibrates loose, and then there's all a gear-driven front setup here. Everything's gear-driven, and that pin falls in there, and it just shreds apart a lot of the times it shoots out this side here, and you got to replace the case. But it does wreak a little havoc, but if you fix that, they should be pretty good to go. So everything's gear driven. This is the P7100 Bosch injection pump, and so there's a shaft that comes through here, and the gear drive is right here, and so that's where if you don't replace the KDP, it starts messing that all up. So if you hear a killer dowel pin, that's what they're talking about. So what's super nice about these tailgates is that it has a hook on one side, it has a hook on the other side, and you can do one of two things. You can have your tailgate like this. Oh, so nice. Or if you're actually doing things, you can, besides looking cool, is you can leave this open so your Australian Shepherd can come up in the back. Come on, Century, come on. Yeah, see how easy it is for her to hop in there? She loves it. She could have done it with it the other way too, but that's my doggy. Little licks. Ooh, that's nice. Here's the key. The key doesn't matter if, however, I turn it right now, it will engage the starter. This is the fuel cutoff down here. So when I pull this will shut it off. This is the electric fan. So right now I can shut my taillights off if I cared to do so. It does have this. Look at this. I've got toothpaste in here. You need some toothpaste. I'm so cheap I don't even buy gum. I just take a little bite of toothpaste. Don't swallow toothpaste or you'll have to call poison control, just saying. This is the cliche rat rod keg that holds the fuel. Now, it's not what I would go with, however, it's very functional. Totally not hating on it. I mean, kinda. It's just not my style or whatever, but it's pretty good. One thing about it though is when I had the lift pump went out on the truck, the second day I was driving, I drove it to work, it died on the street. Wouldn't start, died, wouldn't start. I was able to get it back in the driveway, but however, you put it under a load and it wouldn't go anywhere. And I thought I might have sucked some air in through this, because if you think the fuel tank is a round container, and if that gets low with fuel, and I live on a hill, and that sloshes around and it sloshes past the hoses and you suck in air, then you're going to have some issues with that. So I kind of was assuming that that's what the problem was. It turned out I had some gunk inside the lift pump, and the lift pump wasn't really doing what it's supposed to do anyways. The plunger was getting stuck, so for like $20 or 40 bucks or whatever it was, I got a new lift pump on it. But this is pretty good. I just don't let it go down really farther than half of the keg here. It's a 15-gallon keg, so I throw 14 bucks in it like once a week if I drive it every day. So it's pretty good on fuel actually. And I didn't say gas, I said fuel, because you don't want to mix those two up. On an upcoming episode of Modern Greaser, we are going to upgrade this exhaust pipe, because it's just too small. It just needs to be a little taller. Maybe not that tall. What it needs to be is, it needs to be fatter. That's not fat enough. It needs to be taller and bigger. That's better. That's what I'm talking about. Taller and fatter and made out of plastic. So I'm assuming this is going to go really well. Plastics they're an insulator, so hot exhaust, it ought to do fine. Catch this on the next upcoming episode of Modern Greaser. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it, because it's going to be awesome. I promise. Or I'll eat a bowl of worms. No, I won't, but I'm just saying I would. That's how awesome it's going to be, that I would do that in a not actual sense. So just think about that. What's even better is I might have another 5 feet to add to that. It just so happens that our local home improvement store sells this same exact piece of 8-inch diameter pipe. That'll extend that another 5 foot. I mean, once I get it out of the garage and all. Should be pretty good. In fact, it's gonna be glorious.